Good afternoon, everyone. This is YC from YC Cooks and Bakes. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here and you like the video, please comment, like, and subscribe so that you can get all my recipes in the description. Today in South Carolina, it's only going to 73, and you might think if you're in a colder part of the country, well, 73 is pretty good, but we had almost 90 yesterday, so 73 almost feels a little, cooler when you go out there and the wind hits you. I know that's strange, but that's how it works. And anyway, today, yes, my husband has to go into work early. He has to work 12 hours again. This is nonstop, this extra work, extra work, extra work. And so when you have to jump through hoops and get dinner in a hurry to make sure he's accommodated for work and the family's accommodated for, sometimes your plans change. I have a London broil, but it has to be, marinated for 8 hours or at least overnight. And I thought, well, I can't do that. So I'm picking a simple meal with a wonderful side that includes the starch and the vegetable in one dish. And the meat we're going to do, and I have 3/4 of one in the fridge and one in the freezer still, is a simple loop sausage, the Polska kielbasa. It's the turkey one. And this makes a very economical meal when you're trying to replace an expensive meat with a cheaper one. But it's still delicious and it's still satisfying and gives you a protein. Okay, so the side that we're going to do is another idea that my mom sent me, and I really am thankful to my mom for sending me these ideas. And I've actually changed the recipe how it can accommodate my family, and you can change it to accommodate your family according to size, how much you use. But it's creamy kale and pasta bake. And the kale being your vegetable and a very healthy one, and pasta will be the starch. And yeah, I think the recipe calls for shells, but the stores didn't. I went to 2 stores and they didn't have any. I thought, I'm not going to another store just to look for shells. That's insane to waste gas for that. So you buy what you can, what's available on the shelves. And so I purchased farfalle, which is, the bow tie pasta. And I cooked about 12 ounces of it to accommodate my family. And I think the recipe calls for 8 ounces. But they come in a 16-ounce box. So you could just use half the box or use 3/4 of the box like I did if you have a larger family. And then the kale, you want to make sure it's washed. And I'll show you what I used. I used one from Aldi. No matter what store you use it from. This one's the Simply Nature Organic. But just make sure that it's washed. And you can see right here, I don't know, you might be reading it backwards, but it's triple washed. And that's a good thing. And this is just a 12-ounce package, if I'm not mistaken. But you can use up to a 16-ounce package for this recipe. Because, it's like, kale's kind of like spinach. It cooks down quite a bit. But what you want to do before putting it in this recipe is blanch it. So you're going to use about a 1/4 cup of kosher salt in a Dutch oven of boiling water. Or you can read and figure out how to do it in your microwave. We don't believe in using a microwave. We got rid of it a long time ago because we found that the stuff people put in it comes with all kinds of unhealthy problems. So we decided, no, you know what? Let's just get rid of it. But anyway, that's just us, you know what I mean? So here it is. I blanched it, and there it is. And it was like full. I did it in this pot, and it cooked all the way down. And of course, you can see at the bottom, I drained it in my steamer. I drained it. So there's the kale. So the pasta's already cooked, and the kale is already cooked. And you're going to need some onion. And I think the recipe calls for yellow onion, but use what you can get. Red onion's very tasty. Use whatever onion you can get. Nothing is in stone. And then you're going to want a little bit of hot sauce. It doesn't matter what kind you have in the house. And then you're going to want a little bit of the Japanese crumbs, the panko crumbs. And you're going to want some black pepper and some Monterey Jack. You're going to want this, and this one is for 8 ounces. And then 6 tablespoons of all-purpose flour and 6 tablespoons of salted butter is also in the recipe. Let me see if I'm leaving out anything else. I don't think I'm leaving, just the milk, because what we're going to do is we're going to saute some onion and put in some spices in that, and then we're going to put in a bunch of milk to make like a basic white sauce. When you put the flour and everything, it makes like a roux, which will thicken that milk into a sauce. And then then you put in the pasta and the hot sauce and the Monterey and all that. But I'll try to go in steps where you can see what I'm doing. But the pasta's already cooked and the kale is already blanched. I'm going to go ahead and dice this up, and I'm going to take my shredder and I'm going to shred this up. Okay, we're at the stove right now, and I already got the Monterey cheese shredded and my onion diced up. And now I'm going to put 6 tablespoons of butter into my pot to make the sauce. I'm just a little aggravated because my husband buys unsalted butter. I hate it. I cannot stand unsalted butter for anything. It just zero flavor. He uses it for baking. But what does he end up doing? Using up all my salted butter that I cook with. Why? Why? Now I gotta add salt and pepper to my dish. It's one of those days. Okay. And you think that wouldn't be a problem, right? But when you go through as much hassle as I do to get things done right, and you go through much hassle as I do to get shopping done for this many people, you want things to be perfect. So, yeah, it's a little aggravating. So I'm melting this right now. 6 tablespoons of butter. And then I'm going to be putting in my yellow onion and sauteing it. And I'm going to add some salt and pepper to it. And then we're going to put in the milk. And I think it says 4 cups of milk. I don't know if I want to put in quite 4. But I have the Nature's Promise whole milk to do this with. I usually only buy almond milk. But I am trying to, this is non-GMO, no synthetic ingredients, and it has vitamin D3, and it is pasteurized and homogenized. It says ultra pasteurized. But anyway, that's what we're going to use. And once we get this, we're going to put, after we melt this butter, we're going to saute the onion and spices together. Saute the onion, and then we're going to put in our cheese to after we get this thickened. So I can bring you back. Okay, the onion and spices is pretty much sauteed. I'm going to show you what it looks like before I put in the flour to make the roux. A lot of you have already gone through this type of sauce with me before. I'll show you what it looks like. There's the onion in there, and the butter, and all the spices. And I will put my flour in there, and then I'll show you what it looks like after that. Okay, you can see how it's a lot thicker now that you remember it was 6 tablespoons of butter. Well, it's 6 tablespoons of flour. It's 1 tablespoon of flour to every 1 tablespoon of butter. And it's really thick now, like a roux. So this is when we put in, you know, our milk and then our cheese to finish processing the sauce. Okay, now that I put in the milk, you want to use like a whip or a whisk like this to get up all that flour mixture in the bottom, the butter and flour. And you want to keep it on like a medium high and keep stirring and whisking so that eventually this milk thickens with the onion and spices into a beautiful white sauce. And then you put the shredded Monterrey in that, and it makes a beautiful cheese sauce. And then you just stir it into the pasta that you've chosen and the blanched kale. And then I have it going into a sprayed 9x13, but there's no real baking. It's not like a mac and cheese. It's just putting it under the broiler with some panko crumbs mixed with olive oil to brown the crumbs. And you only do that for 2 or 3 minutes, and that's it. There's no real baking time. We're just putting it in that dish as far as, you know, laying it out and serving purposes. But I did spray it just for easy cleanup. But probably didn't even have to do that. And then we're just going to serve it with the polska turkey kielbasa on the side, the loop sausage, and it'll make a nice, economical, quick meal. Because once you understand how to do this, you'll be able to do it like it's nothing. And then it would do really well on a quick day. It's not really time-consuming involved. There's not a lot of ingredients. And it can be ready for someone who has to go to work in a hurry. So, all right, I'm going to bring you back. Okay, after you thicken the milk and you put in your Monterey, watch how thick this is, just to give you an idea. See how thick that is? And I'll bring you forward so you can see it. You see? See how thick it is? So just be patient. It thickens, and then even more so when you put in your Monterey. And I'll meet you at the counter. Okay, I'm back. Can you see me better now? We finally got that light to work. I was in the dark earlier. Okay, we're on the last step now, where we have half a cup. Well, I think I used 3/4 of a cup of panko crumbs, and then you just add a little bit of stir some olive oil into it, sprinkle it across the top of your kale and pasta, and it turns golden brown under the broiler, and that's it. There's no baking this or anything. So I'm just going to pour, you know, it says you can use a tablespoon. I will be replacing my olive oil very soon on the next grocery list. And by the way, do use 4 cups of milk. Remember, I wasn't sure if I wanted to use all that. Look at this. It's beautiful. So it soaked it all up. So you do want to use that for your side. And then I'm going to scatter these crumbs across the top, and then broil them until they're golden brown, and then that's it. That will be the side with the starch and vegetable for our meal of turkey polska kielbasa.